Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode. Inverter. I think that has been one of the mainstay technologies for the last decade. As long as we think about solar, we always think about inverter. Referred to the as the brain of the solar power system, this technology has seen a massive shift in its efficiency, in its advancements, in its features, and is an ever evolving field. Let's talk a little more about inverters, the trends, the future, and the impact that it has on the final project efficiency. And who better to talk to us than Swaralipi, who is the executive director of Wattpower India. Swaralipi, a
Thank you
warm
so
welcome to
much.
you on our
Thank you.
podcast. Inverter is always an exciting space.
Yeah,
And, when we talk about it, I think we have seen and we have heard a lot about Wattpower. We know the kind of work that it is doing in India. But before we delve into, the technology per se, why don't you just give us a brief about yourself and about Wattpower?
for sure. First of all, thank you so much for having us. I mean, it's a wonderful platform and it's always great to interact with you on screen or off screen. So, I had been in the solar industry almost 12-year plus now and started on those days when we used to get very, very happy about a 100 kilowatt project as well. Um, my experience had been in both the sides. So started with project development and now doing product and basically, though it's not a new product, it's at the core, it's a very, very well understood and well globally well acknowledged technology to our watt power inverters. But still, as a brand, we are establishing ourselves and we are extremely thankful to the industry with the overwhelming experience that we are getting.
So it's been what, 2 years since Wattpower entered into India?
Yes, it's been the brand Watt Power is 2 years old, and you know uh, though this technology was available in India earlier to this also, this technology had been available to India since 2017, and before even 2017, so since 2015 or so,
And how
and
have the 2 years been, since
amazing, amazing. I mean, a lot of. So we were. I'll give you a little glimpse. So Watt Power is basically a German group, company named Wattcraft, their subsidiary, and Wattcraft at the core of it was a distributor company. So when Watt Power happened, it was a challenge as well as an excitement for us, and we saw, from a basically a box mover to OEM's journey had been amazing. And the kind of beliefs and support that the industry has shown to us, again, we can be only show gratitude towards it. And 2 years we have supplied close to, so let's say this financial year end, we would be closing to about a 14 gigawatts of supply, completing a 14 gigawatt supply in the Indian market only. So, yeah.
exciting? So today, when you are leading Wattpower, and this is a new manufacturing journey for you in India, probably even across the globe. What are your key focus areas when you're leading the company?
So, the key focus area for Watt Power had always been to give a reliable technology because we have a very, very strong service team. But I think that's the one team who are most idle in Watt Power because the kind of technology vouching that we are doing. So, we love to call ourselves a solution providers rather than a product supplier. We want to work with, we not only want to, we work with all the developers or the solar players when it comes to a project at the core level and see what value addition can be done, right? And how can our product give them the best value out of it at a life cycle level. So that had been the core of What Power always.
Inverter as a technology, you talk about the value addition that brings in. But this is every year it evolves. There are a lot of new features over the years which have come in. It has become more from not only a power conversion tech and to it's going to something which is a mixture of power conversion plus data analytics plus a lot of tech enabling features of controlling the projects. What are the trends that you're now seeing on the technology side?
Very, very interesting question. So, just to put a perspective towards it, so right now in what power so we are just supplying one product to the Indian market right now, which is a 275 kilowatt, and which is only used in the utility scale. So when I talk about the trends of inverters, I'll kind of uh, put myself or from the lens of the utility scale projects. So when we look at utility projects, the bigger challenges or the bigger areas of expansion or the trends that are coming from is towards grid stability. So when we with a watt power inverter or for any inverters for that matter, once again, I think can we cut this answer and do this again? Okay. So
Sure.
I want to listen to the question again. Can I do that?
Talk about the trends and the technology advancements, what's happening in this space.
Okay. So when we talk about the technology advancements and trends of inverter, I would approach this question from the point of view of utility scale segments projects because right now in India, that is the product that we are mostly circulating, only supplying basically. So we are supplying 275 kilowatt inverters, which are used in utility scale. So the biggest trend that I see in the utility scale projects is to support the grid. And, it is not about only matching the grid code because it is evolving, as you said rightly, right? So the requirement of the grid is become more and more stringent for obvious reasons that renewable energy penetration is going up. And this is source renewable energy in any way the source which is variable in nature. So to supporting the grid would become a defining technology. So right now, the inverters that we are looking at deployed are mostly all grid supporting. So the new trends that are coming to the market that we will be seeing ahead is grid forming. So wherein the stability can be ensured a little bit higher. And obviously, it would be accompanied with battery energy storage systems that we are looking at.
What do the IPPs expect out of a technology or a solution provider like Wattpower?
I think there is only one thing that IPPs anyways look from any of the vendors who are supplying, that is to optimize the levelized cost of energy. So, in order to optimize the levelized cost of energy, there are only two ways. You optimize the capital cost, right? As well as you optimize your O&M cost, right? And um, it's always a balancing act that it would be playing. So with us, which has been working out very well, with this 2 years experience of supplying Watt Power, we have a failure rate lesser than around 0.5% in the market. So, which definitely is a very, very big help because that increases your uptime of the plant, that increases your revenue contribution. Uh, and apart from that, I mean, obviously, we feel the way our product is designed, it is designed to last long, right? So, because of which you are getting a product for the entire life cycle of the plant.
Do you in this market there are so many solution providers? It often becomes difficult to differentiate features. It becomes difficult to sell features on a standalone basis. do you find it difficult to compare your technology with other technologies which are available, or there are some defining differences which makes Watt Power special?
Yes. Uh, why yes is we always find it difficult. And difficult because, probably we are not the L1s for anyone. So that is a difficult journey. But if you ask whether it has been acknowledged by developers, yes, that is where experience comes into play. You know, good thing is solar industry in India right now is pretty matured, and we have teams with developers who had been doing this for a very long time, and they have actual data which they can compare it with. Technology wise, maybe at a data sheet level, a lot of things can look alike,
Mm.
but at the same time, the site data
Mm.
would prove ultimately the after uh, performance that we are trying to showcase.
The
And
outputs and the efficiency. Yes.
yeah. And here I would like to share our experience of ours. So uh, we had been working with all the bigger developers very successfully, and this journey with them had been very long. They had been using this technology from a long time. They understand, they have very seasoned team, and they have data to back their experience. But what was very interesting for us was to see the overwhelming experience we had, or the response we had from the Kusum scheme.
Mm.
In Rajasthan, when the Kusum scheme opened, uh, we saw extreme good response towards our product, and it is individuals who are making these decisions, right? So ultimately, I say the investors are always very intelligent. They definitely look at all the parameters in the right way
No doubt.
to
But
to make a right
is there a
choice.
difference? You've been selling to the utility side, and now PM Kusum opens up, which are not that large a project scale. How do you is the same technology applicable both scenarios? Is it something different as a solution provider that you're bringing in? And is your overall experience in dealing with a large scale project versus, let's say, a Kusum project any different?
So it's a lot of questions together in one go. So, one by one, I'll try to answer. First of all, I'll start with the experience part. Experience very, very different, right? Because so in case of a utility company who had been developing projects for a very, very long time, for there they have extremely seasoned design engineering team who has figured it out the complete, plant design. Yes. And they just want us what can be the new value additions, basically. But when we are working with someone in Kusum, we hold hands from a very, very basic level, looking at how their site looks like, how to plan the site, how to plan the evacuation, how to make it more cost effective per se from the plant design basis. And we have a good engineering team who supports that. So experience wise, yes, very
Mm.
different. Product, same.
Mm.
It's the same product.
Mm.
Again, design parameters are different from the plant basis, because again, the requirement is also different, basically.
And what about, the often, as you said, though at the end, the LCOs do matter, but in PM Kusum, is that still the case? Or is it a much more price sensitive market as compared to the true scale?
No, I think ultimately the investors are intelligent. LCOE matters. LCOE matters. Operation and maintenance cost matters. Uptime matters. Your lower failure rate matters. Yes, these all things that matters. And uh, ultimately, though we are getting connected at the 11 kV line, probably the grid stability or the grid reliability has not kicked in for Kusum yet now so strongly yet. But we are expecting that also to play a role while deciding which inverters to go for.
And now that, we are seeing a trend of, let's say, solar storage and wind hybrids, especially in the CNI space.
Yes.
Do you see that as a future market for watt power?
I would love to see that. So our primary technology partner definitely has a very robust technology towards BIS. How do we introduce that to market? An Indian market for Indian requirement, yet to be formed the decision. So probably would be able to answer this next time.
Finally, what would you as a solution provider expect out of the IPPs? What do you, based on your experience, you've been dealing with them for last 2 years, you've seen the Indian market, you know how they think, what they think. What do you expect from an IPP that you're selling?
See, you know, what is happening is also not only the renewable energy as it is expanding and solar as it is expanding, sites are getting more and more difficult. So the choice of sites for the bigger developers are also getting very, very limited, right? So from that point of view, what and the and we are not talking anymore at 100 megawatt level. We are talking in the level of gigawatt level. So the project gestation period has increased. When the gestation period or the project development period has increased, there are a lot of ups and downs on the because of weather, because of many things, ups and downs on the supply requirements, which is getting comprehended continuously as a dynamic requirement. So for that to be ready with that is something, and closer work with the IPP is something that we definitely want to do, and storing of the product in the right way, because probably you are taking an inverter today and commissioning it after 6 months.
Hmm.
How we are taking care of that particular product during this phase plays a huge role. So yes, the IPPs are gearing up, the teams are gearing up, and that is what we are looking forward.
Are there any supply chain bottlenecks within the uh, inverter manufacturing that impacts your final deliveries?
As of now, no. So we have a 9.9 gigawatt line, and well booked. Supply had not been an issue since we have started this factory. So supply chain issue is as of now not there. But at the same time, project timeline is always also playing a lot of role on the supply side. So that is there.
Now, as we come to the year end, everybody wants to just get their projects commissioned.
Yes, for the smaller developers, that is a thing that happens.
Mm.
But again, that's what the good thing about Indian market. So now we understand that that's how the trend goes. The bigger developer does, the smaller ones also does, and we as suppliers also do, right? So what happens is probably the developers who can continuously pick material, they do that. We try to complete the supplies for them early at the initial time of the year, and keep the January, February, March supplies more for the smaller projects, 10 megawatt, 15, 20 megawatt, so that both the markets can get the product when the project needs it.
How are you setting up your, after sales? Because you said service is important, even though, the failure rates are low, but still it's important to gear up as the installation capacity goes up. Now, when we're talking about gigawatts of power, we talk about COSUM, which is getting smaller, and every single day counts for a project. How are you, shaping your after sales teams?
So as a supply of the products, we almost do pan India. So our supply service team is also pan India, right? And when we say service, service has two parts. One is after sales, which starts once the product reaches you or the customer, and after commissioning. So there are these two phases. Our service team is divided into two. One is before commissioning and after commissioning. We take and our the service team that is on ground available before commissioning is one of the largest. So whenever the customer is commissioning the project, we go hand in hand and are a part of the team while the product is getting commissioned and do the entire testing just to ensure that our product can work at its best.
A lot of inverters, they've also faced this challenge of technology obsolescence. Is that something that is a concern for watt power? And uh, because every new year you have some new features, and a lot of times, especially we've seen it in the impacting the smaller players, who are in either installing or investing into projects. Now, is technology obsolescence a concern?
No, that's the beauty of a string inverter. Yes, that particular product won't be available, but you will get a relevant product to replace, right? Because these are smaller boxes. Replacing and combining is much easier. So that's why string inverter at a longer term is definitely easier to go with.
Okay. Finally, I think we talked about PM Kusum a bit.
Mhm.
What would your advice be to a investor or developer who wants to set up projects under PM Kusum? How should they go about choosing the inverters? What should be on their minds? What should they watch out for? And what should they ask for?
First of all, I think the first thing that we should anyways look at is how reliable the technology is that we are going with, right? And when I say reliability, why becomes it's such a key factor is, in a Kusum project, which ranges from 1 to 5 megawatt, I'd say, we are talking about a handful of inverters, very limited pieces, right? And Kusum has very different challenges because the sites are very away from each other. If you don't have a reliable product, every time during our operation and maintenance time as well, if you are replacing an inverter because of a failure rate, possibly because of anything, right, you would be spending about a 10 to 15K, right?
Hmm.
So that would become a very, very big bottleneck over the time.
But how does a PM Kusum developer or investor know at the time of choosing that what is reliable and what isn't?
Yes, and that is where we try to do a lot of awareness programs. We try to connect at through our partners. So we work with the local partners in the different regions on knowledge sharing basis. What we are doing, we can probably only talk about that. What kind of support we can extend, what best we are doing, and again,
Anything else that they should look out for along with reliability?
generation reliability services, as well as the longevity of the product and the availability of the technology, how long it had been.
Okay. And as when your teams go to sell your inverters, today we see a lot of there's information, but there's also a lot of misconceptions about the technology which is available. Do they face a lot of challenge dealing with the PM Kusum projects? Because I believe the large scale ones teams are much more aware. They are in a continuous R&D mode about what is latest out there. But what about the smaller investors?
Now, in a contrary, I would say that was my expectation as well. But yes, no, they have the in-depth understanding. And a good thing is the state level industry associations also have helped out.
Hmm.
They have formed groups.
Hmm.
They have increased their volume
Hmm.
to a level where it becomes interesting for everyone, and they have analyzed the technology and put it forward for everyone. So that had been a very, very welcoming step, I would say. Look at Rajasthan, everyone is thriving together.
That's true.
Yeah.
And do you foresee a need of, let's say, a more structured uh, uh, learning development in the industry, so that especially on the tech side of it, so that learning and development, which we see a lot of bottleneck after a certain project scale. Do you see more and more need of investing into that learning and development?
So definitely, communication had been always key for each and every industry. Um, because that brings in awareness, right? Why are so many people today interested even in putting in money in solar,
Hmm.
right? So, you know, reaching that information to every level that yes, this is a good investment. This is probably assures you of an annuity return. That can only come from a mass communication. Definitely, we see that need continuously, and more industry experts join hands together and promote this idea. It would be best for all of us.
Finally, as we end this podcast now, what would be the message that you want to give, especially to, let's say, uh, the women leaders, in this space? You yourself are in a position of leading Watt Power. Uh, we don't see a lot of women in this field, in this sector. What would be your message to the women community and the future women leaders of this energy space?
I think we are doing great. And obviously, like any other industry, solar is nothing different. We have a lot of examples all around us. I get motivated every day by looking at them. And yeah, sky is the limit.
Fantastic. So I think overall, inverters, it's a very exciting topic, and a lot of new trends on storage, IoT, monitoring, etc. It is an ever expanding field. Would we get to see any new product lines from Wattpower soon?
Not 2025 for sure.
Okay, so we'll stay tuned for more exciting updates from Wattpower. I think it's been very exciting chatting with you, Swalipi.
Thank you so, so much. It had been a great opportunity for us as well. It had been always great to connect with Solar Quarter, but this was great.
It was a new platform. We'll have more chats with Swalipi down the line and talk much more in depth about the technology of the inverters. Thank you all for joining. Bye bye.
Thank you.